Okay, it is March 2019, and for me that means it's time to post my next update about multiple sclerosis. Like all videos of this kind start out, I gotta say, my name is Spencer and this is my MS story. So I was diagnosed 3 years ago and I started watching these My MS Story videos on YouTube, and if you're watching this one, I'm sure you've seen other ones. You just search for My MS Story and you'll see some of the more popular, like more well-viewed My MS Story videos, but you can also refine your search on YouTube and just search for the most recent ones. And I was doing that for the last few days just to kind of get myself in the mindset for posting these videos, and man, these videos will kill you. They are so touching and powerful. The minute I saw those videos back in the day, 3 years ago when I was first diagnosed, I just knew I wanted to record one, so I did that. And each year I've been updating my MS story, and I think that for me that's kind of cool. I don't know if you've ever seen those movies. I think they're called 7 Up. I don't know if that's what they're called. Anyway, it's like an update on these kids as they grow up every 7 years. This is my update on MS every year. Alright, before I get too deep into it, here is an outline. Yes, an outline of what I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm going to start out with just an update, like how I'm doing, what's going on with me, physically, health-wise with this damn disease. The second thing I'm going to do is talk about this past year in terms of like inspiring stuff. There's been a lot of really kind of cool stuff going on in the MS community, and I'm just going to talk about a few of those things and how they've hit me and how I found them important. Now, Melissa is also going to come on this video for sort of like a discussion. We're going to talk a little bit. Someone was nice enough to make a comment on one of my other videos saying, dude, why don't you get Melissa on there when you talk about the disease next time, because she might have some insights that would be valuable to people. So we're going to do that. I'm going to try to get her to just talk about what it's like for her to live with a dude who's got this kind of creepy, messed up disease. And then I'm going to wrap up by talking about my plans and outlook for the next year. I'm not the kind of person who makes like big resolutions for change or anything like that. Most of what I want to do is to keep things going the way they are going. But anyway, I'm going to talk about those plans at the end of the video. This may be one of the more absurd moments. Alright, so I dropped Melissa off at work and now I'm just hitting the hardware store to get a couple things. The dogs seem kind of chill, so I thought I would put the update portion of this video together right now. So in terms of what's going on with me physically, things haven't really changed all that much from last year, and I gotta say that I feel a little bit, I shouldn't, but I feel a little bit bad talking about my health, like my physical health, because I'm actually doing really well. And I'm 20 years in on this disease. I had my first symptoms in my late 20s. That's when my feet started going numb, my butt went numb, and all kinds of stuff like that. So that was late 20s. Right now I'm in my late 40s. I'll be turning 49 this year. So I feel like I'm doing pretty well. The reason I feel bad talking about it, and maybe I shouldn't, I just know that a lot of people with this disease are really suffering. It fucking sucks. MS, you know, it hits your central nervous system and your brain, or just your brain, or just your spine, and man, that damage can just mess people up. And my heart just goes out to people who are really suffering with this disease, and I never know myself what's next. That freaks me out a lot, but right now, today, in March of 2019, like I said, I'll be turning 49 this year, I'm doing pretty well. I have these kind of residual symptoms from previous exacerbations. So, and I've talked about this before in my other videos, like I had a lot of exacerbations up until the point of my diagnosis and the point when I changed my diet and started getting on vitamin D and minimized my stress and just kind of like changed my life to make MS more of a focus. And at that point, I was having a lot of exacerbations, almost kind of constant, and I haven't had any noticeable exacerbations since then. I've also gone to the neurologist each year, and my dang scans look good. No active lesions, no lesions getting bigger. I still just have those kind of like 4 big lesions on my spinal cord, nothing in the brain. He actually thought my brain was looking pretty good. I guess people's brains shrink over time, everybody. And people with MS, Millie's trying to steal the show. People with MS, I guess our brains shrink even more rapidly, and mine's not even doing that. So So whatever that means, you know, I don't try to put too much faith in the value of scans, you know, MRIs and whatnot. But the scans look good and I'm feeling pretty good. So anyway, I don't think I'm out of the woods, and I don't think I ever will be, but dang, I've been doing pretty good. I lead a really active life, you know, exercise every day. I've got full mobility, and really 90-something% of my MS symptoms are sensory or were sensory. So there's still a little bit residual of that, you know, some feeling loss, some vision loss. It's a motor control loss of my eyes, you know, not able to see as much to the right because of previous double vision and that kind of thing. But, you know, you get used to that stuff. So I feel like almost 100%. I do have some bathroom issues. I mentioned that before. Just like, I just don't actually know when I've got to go a lot of times. And I don't have the same kind of ability to kind of regulate that stuff. So that's not always fun. And I'm obviously kind of tiptoeing around the issue. It's also embarrassing to talk about. But, you know, I've got some stuff. But, you know, a lot of people have stuff. And I'm doing really well. So anyway, that's my update. It's been just a regular year. Just like working out on a regular basis, walking every day, doing a lot of building and construction work and stuff like that, stuff I love to do. All right, so that's like the physical side. There is just, for me, just this even more challenging kind of psychological, emotional, mental side of this whole disease. I've talked about that a little bit before, but dang, this thing can get you down. I can end up just terrified about the future, you know, especially when I look out and see other people really suffering. You know, it just freaks me out. And I don't know what to do with that. You know, I try to cope with that and be positive and live in the moment and all that stuff, but it freaks me out. I wanted to say that I have found in this past year some real inspiration, like powerful inspiration from a few other people with MS. One person who has just been so awesome and really meaningful to me, and we've actually sort of connected a bit online. His name is Matt Embry, and I'll put a link down in the notes below this video and here on the screen as well. The guy is so cool. He's my age. He's had MS about the same amount of time, a little bit longer, and he's doing awesome too. Like just seems to be symptom free. You know, like really great. Anyway, Matt Embry's got this Best Bet diet that he follows. The dude put out a documentary this year called Living Proof. And if you haven't seen it, it's so awesome. He talks about his exploration of primarily like the pharmaceutical industry and how he thinks it's just so jacked up, the way that people get channeled into the system where you see your neurologist, they put you on these drugs, they don't help you, everyone's making money off people with MS, and people aren't getting healthier. Meanwhile, there are these other ways to treat MS with diet, exercise, stress reduction, yoga, blah, 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 that actually work really well for a lot of us. I don't know about everybody, but for some of us, damn, this stuff is the best. Anyway, if you haven't seen Living Proof, check it out. You can see it, not for free online, I don't think, but you can see it on like Amazon Prime and Netflix and that kind of thing. I'll put a link down below. Anyway, that documentary is awesome. I watched it a couple times. I cried. I got into it. He's cool. I wrote a review of it, put it on my blog. The other inspiration I've been getting from people with MS is, it's not as happy a story, but it's about Selma Blair, who I didn't really know Selma Blair as an actor. You know, I mean, I've seen her in a few films, but damn it, she got diagnosed in the fall after 15 years without being diagnosed, just like a lot of us. I was, I think, 17 years in before I finally got diagnosis. And, you know, the disease messed her up in some ways. So she's in the middle of a big flare right now, like now, January, February, March 2019. And Selma Blair, damn it, she went out on the red carpet at a Oscar event. She also did an interview with, I think it was ABC. And again, I'll put a link down below. Dang, she was so courageous. In this interview, she's suffering from mobility issues and then also speech issues. So she's having a lot of trouble speaking. She's having a flare that's affecting the part of her brain which, you know, regulates her ability to talk, which is really common with people with MS. So anyway, she's like a celebrity model person, is used to looking all perfect and talking perfectly, and she's struggling to articulate herself. Actually, not really. She can articulate herself. She's just struggling to produce some language. So anyway, it's super inspiring, but also like sad to see, and a little freaky for those of us with the disease, because you know, she's like, she's living proof of another kind. Matt Embry is like living proof of someone who's kicking ass and doing great with MS. She's living proof of someone with MS who's struggling and in a tough spot. It's been a year where inspiration has been really, really important to me. Okay, so as promised, Melissa's here to just kind of talk about stuff. The question I was gonna ask you is like, what's it like? But I know that's kind of general.
Well, I mean, when you asked me if I'd come on and talk on your MS video, I thought, well, that's pretty sweet, because it's your thing and you've been doing it for years now, and I feel like kind of honored to be here. But I started thinking about it, and the main thing that comes to mind is just like how we've adapted mostly. So like
a lot of change.
A lot of change, but I think it was, you know, it's a shock to hear it, and it was, I'm kind of taking us back to like my MS video 1, because I wasn't there to talk about it, but it's a shock to hear it, and I think it's like for me, because I'm such a planner and I like to, you know, like I'm very type A, I like to kind of know what's coming, and this whole thing is giving me a chance to practice being a little bit more like okay with the unknown. So that was the first part of it, was just like adapting to getting used to like not knowing what the future might be like. And I think that's been really good in a lot of ways. It's been really healthy.
I know we made a lot of changes. Like, I made a lot of changes, but then that sort of meant that everyone else had to also.
Yeah, but that's okay. And I mean, I think the changes are good. I think the adaptation part is good. I think it's just, I don't know. I think it's been the weird part about recognizing like that your partner or your family member has some kind of chronic illness is that I don't want to treat him like funny every day. Like, I don't want to walk around on eggshells and, you know, like never fight with you, or never like be frustrated, or never like have fun, or never like, you know, just, you know, like treat you like you're some kind of like up on a pedestal, some little glass figurine or something. Not that you're not.
Like I'm messed up.
So I think it's been good to kind of just be like, we're gonna have a normal life. Like, whatever happens, happens, and that's just the way it is. Like, so he happens to have MS. So not so what, but you know, like I'm gonna treat you like we're not gonna like dwell on it every day. Yeah. Because I think for you at least that, and for me, I don't think that would have been.
I feel like at first when I finally got that diagnosis, I did feel like I don't know if I can what I can do. You know, I was like, I don't know what I can do this summer. We
had a trip planned to Scotland for my work, and you were gonna come, and you were just like, I don't know if I can go, like food and the travel, and I was like, we're gonna do this. It's gonna be like a pretty important thing for us. We made it work, and it was great.
But I feel like that was, and a lot of this is about diet stuff, because I changed my diet so radically. Actually, for me, it seemed radical. For some people, it maybe wasn't that big a deal.
Well, for you, it kind of wasn't. It kind of wasn't, because you were already like a vegetarian, bordering on like not eating a lot of like sugar and.
But I feel like those changes meant a lot to us. Like we were kind of eating differently, and that was just such a big thing that we did.
That was hard. That was the hardest part, I think, was just getting used to the dietary stuff. And it took me maybe a year, and I started just adapting all our recipes. Like almost all the things that we used to eat, I figured out a way for us to continue having in one way or another, one form or another. And that's, for me, has been like kind of the way I've thrown myself into this, is just like, okay, I like to be able to cook with you and eat with you, and like it's really kind of an important thing for our relationship and what we do. So it's like, it's been fun to figure out pretty much like how to make everything. So we don't eat out anymore, so that's really like much healthier for us. And a lot of the food that we do eat, it's like a whole food kind of like lots of vegetables and fruits. Not that we weren't doing that before, but just...
I was talking a little bit on this video about like the psychological dimension of having MS. I've been talking about that before. It's like, it's a disease of the central nervous system and the brain and all that stuff, but it's just like hard to cope with sometimes, and hard to, you know, like stay upbeat and not get obsessed about it. Is that true for you too, or is that just like that's not the deal for you?
That's kind of how we started that, like the answer to the first question that you asked. Like, I feel like that adaptation has been the biggest one, just kind of like to treat you just like a normal person. But I don't think about the MS stuff every day, except that I think about it with the diet. And I don't want to focus on the future as being like, if you focus on the future as being negative, then the present is negative. Whereas right now things are going okay, knock on wood, and it's kind of like more fun to think like, let's just do what we're doing and see what happens. And I just know I'm here for him. Like that was a choice I made like a long time ago before MS. And so I think that's just something that we're we're just in it together. So watching the Selma Blair video, seeing someone with MS having an actual exacerbation episode, like that's hard. And he's been through a lot, and there have been times when like I couldn't hug him for 3 months because he had some, different skin pain.
That was rough.
Or he couldn't see to cross the street, and I would walk with him everywhere. He couldn't bike. He was like, couldn't drive.
I just had the patch.
There have been times when we've had to, make some adjustments, and that's hard. That's the hard part, is seeing somebody that you love in pain or.
Well, we haven't had that stuff in a while.
God, knock
it's been good. We've been doing pretty good.
So, but it's hard to. And so when you haven't had it for a while, and then you see someone going through an exacerbation, then it can be like, it reminds you, like all of it comes flooding back. Man. It's like this big reminder of like, wow, this is serious stuff, and we need to keep going the path we're going on. So.
Yeah.
I just support you. I think you're doing really well. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
You're doing a good job.
Thank you. All right, thanks for being on the video.
That was fun.
And I thought I would end by just talking a little bit about my plans for this coming year, but I've got to say that they are not much different from the past year and the one before that. I'm just going for consistency. I'm going to keep doing the vitamin D every day, keep eating the same anti-inflammatory diet, keep exercising, getting a lot of sleep, and just all that stuff. I've got my fingers crossed for another good year, but you never know. So I think part of my plan is to be flexible, and as Melissa said, like be able to adapt to whatever happens next, because you just, you never know. But I'm going to stick to the plan, stick to the regimen, and I haven't varied from that at all. I've been on that diet so strictly and doing everything else really strictly. So at the same time, I gotta remind myself that I've got some resilience. I have some big projects planned that'll show up on my other YouTube channel, like some building stuff, and those are strenuous. There's gonna be a little bit of heat involved, but I think I can handle it. I've sort of learned my limits in the last couple years, and I think I can do quite a bit and stay within my limits. Okay, that's it for this update on my MyMS story. Hit me with a comment down below if you want. I'd be happy to talk to you. I've talked to people on the phone, over direct message, on email, and in the comments. So any way you want to connect, that'd be cool. That's the best thing about YouTube, is that it's interactive. And as for this video, it's done, but I'm going to be posting more on this channel about health-related stuff, so subscribe if you want to check it out.